Hello and welcome to another episode of the Big Money Stylist podcast. I have a special guest here today.
Hello.
Miss Luz. She is actually one of my trainers for Natural Beauty Row hair extensions. And I swear I thought we had done a podcast together before.
My first podcast ever.
Really? Ever?
In my life.
In your life. Well, you're here. We're doing it. You're going to be great. So every week we kind of pick a topic and we talk about it, try to share value with inside the hair industry or just like share our stories and that kind of thing. I started this podcast, I want to say it's been like 4 years now. Mm-hmm. And it's the one thing that I feel like I've been pretty consistent. Well, yeah. I'm pretty consistent with my marketing, but I feel like this kind of allows like the artist to kind of share and, like I said, add value in our industry. And surprisingly enough, a lot of our students, when I ask them like, hey, how did you find us? They say like the podcast. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, so I just keep doing it because it's like one of those things. It's not like Instagram where you know how many likes you got or like shares or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it must be working because a lot of our student base listens to it. So first off, how long have you been a trainer for?
Since 2020.
Has it been since 2020?
2020?
Okay, because I do remember you were the last round of, what do we call it? Not platform artists. Platform artists? Is that what we call it then?
Was me. Yeah.
Okay, so
like right at, like during the pandemic.
Yes. Yeah. So we, as my brand started to kind of pick up momentum, every year we would kind of hand select different platform artists to come on like an invitation to kind of try out to be on the training team. Mm-hmm. And we were doing that every year and everyone was like, how do I become a trainer? How do I become a trainer? And we actually have not brought in any more trainers since you, and there was like a couple other that brought in at the same time. And I don't remember who it was, but you might be the only one left standing out of that group that came.
Snuck in.
Yeah. No, but it was
last one standing.
I felt like your work really stood out to me, but I honestly don't know a lot about your story. Mm-hmm. So I would love for you to kind of share, first off, how long ago did you find MBR, and just kind of like tell me a little bit more about your story.
Yeah. So I've been doing hair for 22 years.
Nice.
And I actually found NBR, I guess it's been 10 years.
Oh, really?
Like, right? It was, I think I watched your YouTube videos.
Oh, wow. We go way back.
We go way back.
And I didn't even know.
I think, okay, so I thought I wanted to go on YouTube and learn and watch the method. And I'm like, this woman is a genius because you didn't post the method.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, I'm not going to pay that much money to go. And then, but I'm like, no one's posting it.
Yeah.
So that's why you couldn't see it. Yeah. So I finally, after, watching video after video and watching, and then the more I got into the industry and the more I got into the like enslavement of behind the chair, then it started speaking to me even more.
Okay.
And so I think I finally bid it in 2018, but I filled out that application many times.
Oh, really?
And then I was like, no, I'm not ready.
I'm not ready. Well, it's so crazy too because hair extensions, even to this day, I always say it's the highest paying service in our industry. Mm-hmm. And people, like the standard for education learning hair extensions is still pretty low. Like people are like, well, I YouTubed it. I went to Sally's Beauty Supply and picked up a needle and thread, and I'm ready to charge thousands of dollars for it. And I'm like, wait, that's craziness. I actually
did do another method for a year. Now that I think about it, and I was just like, this is not, because I didn't have the support.
Yeah,
and I didn't have. It was an 8-hour day, and then they were like, congrats, you're certified, you're an expert.
Yeah.
And then I was charging so much money. Yeah. And now I look back at those pictures and I'm like, how did I do that? How did I even have clients? So I think I just wanted it to be, when I do something, I want it to be the best that I do, and I want to be fully
proud.
Invested, and I want to make sure that people get the value of what they're getting and not ever I never want anyone to feel gypped.
Yeah. Like you want to stand behind your work. Yeah.
So
well, it's are you in a commission salon or you own a salon?
So I own an extension salon, MBR exclusive, and then I own DeVeo, which is like all hair color, cut, everything. So that's what I started. I have my business partner Jess, and I opened it in 2009.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right in the middle of the recession.
Oh, nice. So do you have two salons? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's so crazy because I feel like I know your story, but I don't. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know you had one salon and then you expanded, or how did that work?
So I opened DeVeo in 2009.
Okay.
Like Jess was 24 and I was 27.
Nice.
And nobody wanted to give us a loan.
Oh.
And we rewrote our business plan 7 times because every time we took it to like a businessman, they were like, no, that's cute, but no. And actually, the person that gave us the money for our business was a woman. And she was my extension client.
It wasn't a bank? You didn't get a loan through a bank? It was a client?
Because everything was crashing.
Oh my gosh. So what made you want to open a salon during that time?
Insanity? I don't know.
Your 20s?
I had no idea is what it was. I had no idea that I could fail. And so we just did it because we wanted to have a space where we were respected. The owner of the salon at the time, she came from an engineering background.
Okay.
So she would say, in the real world, she would use these things like, in the real world, you couldn't do that with a real job. And I'm like, does she not just pay you real money? Is this monopoly? So we wanted to be respected and we wanted our industry to be respected. So we tried to get a loan and everybody thought we were crazy because the economy was crashing. Yeah. The stock market was crashing.
How much did you need for like the loan?
Well, first we thought we needed $500,000. Then we needed $100,000. We got $100,000.
Okay, I was like, you definitely didn't need $500,000.
No, and now probably that was too much even. But no, the lady. So I had a client who I did extensions on, and I was doing like the bonded method. Okay, that took 5 hours, days, like just to take them out. Yeah. And so, I had said no to the guy because I had a guy look at me he sat across the table from me, and he said, "You cannot do this without me." So I was like, oh, because he wanted to be a silent investor, but then the more we got into it, he was not silent.
Scammy.
Yeah, he was less and less silent.
Oh, okay.
So I started saying hypotheticals, like, but if we want to do this, what would happen?
And how did you find this random guy?
He was just a guy that was an investor. He knew me from my husband, through my husband, and he was like, I want to open a salon. I want to invest in a salon. Okay. So he just saw the opportunity. He knew I had a book, and he knew I had been there in the area for a while, and so
he was like, I'll be a silent investor.
Yeah, and then he wasn't so silent.
And then so you didn't actually.
So Jess and I were on the phone, and I was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't want to do it. And she was like, I don't want to do it either. Oh. So we both were like, it's a no, but we had no other options. Yeah. So I'm telling my client who knew, we were like, I'm gonna open it. Yeah. And she was like, how's it going? And I said, well, we had to back out. She said, why? I told her. She got her color. She was processing. She comes back and she's like, I just spoke to my husband, and there's a couple of stocks that we want to move money from, and I'd rather take a risk on you.
Oh, wow.
She's like, when I was your age, I wanted to open an electrolysis business. Uh-huh. And she said, I would have pawned everything I owned at 100% interest just for someone to believe in me.
Oh, okay.
And she said, and the fact that you just said no to your only option was like, for me, it was just so bold. Yeah. She's like, I want to give you the money. I'd rather invest it in you.
So, okay, so she invests in you, and then how does this go down? How does this work?
Then we go through, we open the salon. We built our own stations. Like, we did it very economically. Okay. And then we opened it. There was just Jess.
How many chairs did you have?
We had 6 stations.
Okay.
We had 8 stations with the intention of only having ever 6 stylists.
Okay.
So we had the 2 of us. We're going to have 2 overflow chairs. And so it was just, at the time, it was Jess and me. And then her mom actually does hair. She's in the academy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Shout out to Janine. So Janine actually, so the 3 of us opened. And so we just knew that we just knew that we could pay the rent and keep the lights on with our 3 income. Yeah. So anything over that was the green.
Was extra. And how does this all go down? You make payments to this client?
Oh, it was a dream. People are like, who is this person?
Okay, so you just made payments to her, like monthly payments.
We told her that we would keep 100% of the, we would just work as employees. Okay. And she would keep 100% of the profits until we paid that loan off.
Okay.
It's like a cool deal.
And and she gave you $100,000.
So she gave us $100,000. Okay. And so we just gave her every profit until.
Did you make money the first year you were open?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's actually impressive.
We actually paid our loan off in 2.5 years.
Oh, nice.
And then she became a partner with us. Okay. And she dwindled. So it was like thirds.
Okay.
And then she would dwindle each year. So after 5 years, we bought her out.
Okay.
But
how did you buy her out? Like, you just
we just gave her like a little lump sum that she agreed to.
Okay.
And then, but she had made over 100% of her profit back.
Yeah, because you already paid her, and then
she made money. So she was smart because every year we grew.
Yeah.
And so even though her profit margin was
paid off, she was still making money.
She was making more money.
Why was she making money off the deal?
Because we didn't have to pay any interest.
Oh, okay.
There was no interest. So if we failed, she lost her money.
Oh, okay.
So it was like...
So she kind of took a gamble on you guys, and it obviously paid off. And then you were kind of like tired of paying her out because you'd already paid her $100,000 back. So you're like, hey, we're just going to give you a lump sum and buy you out.
Yes.
Okay.
It worked for us because she was liquidating assets because she was going through a divorce.
Oh, so she needed the cash.
So she needed the cash.
Like, okay, cool.
We were able to like offer a lower amount because she made a ton of money. And we didn't care because she did take a risk on us.
Do you own that space still?
Yeah, so we just recently moved. We moved both salons. So fast forward, we get to 23 chairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you had 23 chairs.
Yeah, we had 23 chairs.
Sounds like a bad idea.
That's not what we. Yeah, that's not how. What we would do is we would grow people.
Okay.
And then we're like, okay, well, then where are they going to go? So we would need a chair. And then we apprentice some more people, and then they need a chair. So we just kept adding chairs.
Okay, let me ask you this. And as your salon grew and you had more stylists, did your profit grow? Because I feel like that's like a big problem in our industry. It's like sometimes you like hire more stylists on it. You're babysitting more. It's more chaotic, but you're not necessarily making any more money.
Initially, yes. And then we plateaued. And then it got to the point where we were like, top heavy.
Yeah, your overhead.
Yeah. So then I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
So 2020 was great for us.
Yeah.
Actually,
it
cleaned
you
the house.
Weed out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so then fast forward to that, I'm always like the one that's like, okay, I'm going to do this, and if it works, we're going to go. And so we started this program through another coaching company, and I got to the point where it was like numbers. We do treat it like a business. We had goals for our girls. We have one-on-ones with them at the time we were doing every week because we had less people. So we had one-on-ones. We would set goals for the business every year. We grew our goals. So we had a coach come in. And the model was more clients, more assistants, less time with the client. So I would be like orchestrating. So I got to the point where I had every 30 to 45 minutes, I had a new client coming in. I was raising my prices. I needed 4 assistants, but I had 2. Sometimes I would grab from other people. And I was burned out.
I was gonna say I call that the assembly line.
It was terrible.
I've actually never done it. I've seen it done, and I'm like, I have no desire to do that. So like I do at my salon, I would do like overlapping. And so they would just come every 2 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like, I could not do every 45 minutes. Like, I just feel like I would explode.
It was terrible. And like for my clients, it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
For my staff, it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
For my business, for Jess, it wasn't fair because like we could never even talk. And she was like, she would put out fires because I was in the fire. So I got to this burnout point. And then I was like, I got here, and the only other thing was get another assistant. Now I'm going to have 4 or 5.
So you still have to pay out like 4 or 5 assistants.
Yeah, and then I was like, did she like her hair? Because I would just put in like the first like 4 foils in the front, and then they would take over. Then I would come in and dry cut them.
Yeah.
And then they would leave, and I'm like, did she like it? And then I was like, that would be like at the time I was like, that's another $400. Give me $400.
Yeah.
And they never saw me.
So, okay. So I again, I've never wanted to do that. I really enjoy like connecting with my clients, and I want to stand behind not just the work, but like the experience. Right. And I actually had a woman sit in my chair last week, and she used to drive to LA and get her hair done. And she goes, she said the same thing. She goes, I went to one person for my color and another person for my extensions. And she goes, and the girl that did my extensions was a pretty big name. And I don't even think she liked me. I go, no, it's not that she didn't like you. She didn't like her job.
Yeah.
She didn't like her job anymore. She was churning and burning. She didn't, you're just another paycheck.
You're just another butt in the seat.
Yeah, you're another butt in the seat. If she remembers your name, like, that's then you are a nice person.
And that's where it was. And I was like, and it felt ethically wrong because I was charging more, but the value and the experience was
not there.
Less.
Yeah.
So I was like, who do I, at that time I was like, I want people to feel like they got something out of it. And part of being what we do is they come to talk to us and to gain, I mean, I feel like that's their therapy session sometimes. So they look forward to that. And if you only have 10 minutes, they can't get anything out. And so they don't feel like they
to
connected.
me it would be, and I always use the comparison, it'd be like going to a Hyatt versus a I don't know, like a montage, right?
Yeah.
A Hyatt's okay, but it's not the same experience.
Yeah.
You're going to have a bed to sleep in, but are you going to have the same experience, right? And for me, I just want to feel like, I always say, like, I don't care if I am like going to go out and have drinks with my hairstylist or whatever. Like, I don't care, but I want to feel like my hairstylist took the time and cared about my hair, right? I want start to finish to be like, they really, like, I wasn't just another butt in the seat kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it's like you can perfect those systems inside of your salon where you can funnel them through every 45 minutes. But again, like, I wouldn't personally want to go to a salon like that. I would be nervous because my hair is pretty fragile. Yeah. And I would be like, is she watching it? Does she know? Like, I've got 4 people on. Did they have a collaborative conversation about my hair? You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I totally understand. And as a hairstylist, like, when I was really, really packed, I used to do 3 a day and I had 2 assistants. Even that, I was like, it's too much. Triple my prices and I only want 2 a day. Yeah. Like, I'm like, it's not worth it to me.
And we don't get that in the industry. It was just like, it's like quantity over quality always. And it affects, for us, we're just one person. And when I'm seeing 17 people a day, 15 to 17 people a day, then when I get home, what does my family get?
You're burnt.
It was like, at one point, I would like shush my kids, like, shh, mommy just needs 1 second of silence. Yeah. Because it's like an exhaustion of your energy is being zapped completely. Yeah. You're giving so much just in the adrenaline of controlling or trying to make people feel like they're seen in those 5 seconds that they get to see you.
It's so much energy to put out. I would always joke around on busy days when I was kind of like working a ton in my salon that it felt like Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you were like constantly making sure everybody's like, it's just exhausting.
I actually designed the salon at one of the renovations we did. I was like, okay, we're going to put the color table over here around the corner so that I could disperse them as much as possible so that they didn't see each other when I was with them, because I didn't want them to see how many actually were there.
How many clients you were juggling. Yeah. So how do you do it now?
So then fast forward through that, I get to that burnout point. I cry as I'm filling out the application, and I'm like, I'm going to go.
So you were already having success. Like, you had built this big salon.
Yes, I was making really good money. I was a 6-figure stylist.
But you weren't happy. You were burnt out, and you're like, where do I go from here?
Right. Yeah. And my thing is, you get to the top, and like, you can either go higher or you're going to start going back down.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
you'll self-sabotage and go back down and then rebuild because you don't know where to go. Yeah.
And so you just keep doing that cycle. So I didn't want to do that. So I was like, what's the next? So I was doing extensions. I really liked that. I didn't even know about the other part. I just came to extensions. Yeah. But I knew that in the message, it was like,
it was freedom.
Yes. Yeah. So I didn't know what consisted of that, but I just knew that it wasn't what I had. Yeah. So I signed up, came to convention in 2018, cried the whole time just because it was like so relatable. Yeah. And then I just told my husband, I remember telling him, I said, I relate to those people on stage. I said, I want to be a trainer. And I came home and I told my girls, my assistants at the time, I was like, you guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to be a trainer for this company. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just declared it. Yeah. So but I came and then I went back. And what made me open the second salon was that I had a client who had like no hair. Like, this woman had, but it's a busy, we've been so blessed to have our coaches are like, this is not normal because our girls are busy. We're all busy. Nice. And so, but it's a small community. We've been there for a long time. So a lot of the clients come in and they see each other's neighbors and stuff. So this lady was in there and she had like, had something happen with a medicine where all of her hair came out, but no one knew that. So when we took her hair out, she had to walk through the salon. Her neighbor's husband was there, and you could see her.
Because it was a full-service salon.
Yes, and it was just so vulnerable. Yeah, yeah. So I just started going, we need like a little like section where it's just like a chair, like no one can see them. So anyway, that turned into, we're going to open an extension only salon where everybody looks like a naked mole rat.
How many chairs do you have in that one?
We have 6 chairs.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. Yeah.
It already feels like we need to expand.
No, don't.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
I keep going back to that.
Yeah,
no, I'm not going to.
Don't do it. Yeah.
But no, yeah, we have 6 chairs, and then we moved. So we're separated by a wall. And so we moved. Our lease expired, and our landlord at the time that we had over there, he opened this new building, and so he took us with because we have so we've always had the same landlord.
Oh, okay.
And we love him, and he loves us.
Nice.
He calls us the girls, and so so we built out this other space now, and we went back down. So I now have 12 stations on that side.
Okay.
And then 6 stations in the salon.
So do they have separate entrances?
They can, but we share like a lobby. And so one side some people come and they're going to extended, and
that's
then
cool
other people go.
But at least, because my salon I have 8 chairs. I never desired to open anything more than just an extension only salon. But I do like that concept because like it is very vulnerable to like take your hair out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, even I tell people all the time when I take mine out, I'm like, it's kind of jarring. Like I don't have a lot of hair. And it's nice to be in a space where like other women might have similar problems, you know, and you just feel more comfortable versus like somebody like a men's haircut or somebody who just has amazing hair and you're like, oh, well.
Also, like the men thought we don't do a lot of men's on the other side anymore either at DeVeo, but like the men, like they would feel so weird when we had like the hair laid out or like when we would bring the hair to blow dry. They would be like
ask questions and you're like, don't.
They're like, whose hair is that? They want to know all the,
weirded out.
Their faces are like, ooh, they would see it like this. So it was just, and then we don't want that.
Yeah.
Like this costs, how many haircuts of yours? Don't.
Are you a booth rent salon or a commission?
Commission.
You are a commission. Okay. And with your, do you only do extensions or do you do a lot of services still?
No, I have I call it Botox Money Monday.
What?
So I just go in and I have like 5 clients.
Okay, Botox Money Monday.
That's my Botox Money Monday.
Okay.
Is I just take that. I do it because I have 5 clients that I only do color on.
Okay.
And I just go because I want to be with my team.
Oh,
because I'm on the other side, so I just do Botox Money Monday on.
So you want to be on the busy side of the salon?
I want to be on the busy side with my girls, and it helps me because I'm like, oh, this chair's a little wonky, and I get to see how they're working.
How that side is going.
Yeah, and I love being with them because I don't get to see them as much. I mean, they come over and we
do your numbers separate with these salons, or do you do them together?
No, they're 2 separate businesses.
They are. Which one makes more money?
Well, right now, DeVeo makes more money because we have more people and more revenue. But Extended's coming up. Our first year, we did what we had done our 3rd year at DeVeo. So and it was just up. 2 of us.
Yeah.
And now we have 6.
Yeah.
So we have 7 people that work at Extended.
Are you guys open every day?
No.
Oh, good.
We're only open on Monday, Tuesday. We're closed on Wednesday and Saturday.
Okay, so you went from being like a successful salon, but you were burnt out. You hated it. You joined not the academy. The academy didn't exist.
No, I joined Mastermind.
You joined Mastermind, and you kind of just felt like. So what made you? What did you change? You obviously don't take the assembly line anymore. So how does your typical day go?
So I just do Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Okay.
And I take 3 clients, 3 or 4. If it's like a 1 row, I do 4 clients.
Okay.
On Tuesday and Thursday and Fridays, I work just until like 4. So I technically work like 2.5 days.
Right.
And then I do my admin work on Wednesdays. But my first year doing MBR, I doubled my income.
Yeah.
And then now it's tripled. So, I mean.
And is that because you went solely to extensions and MBR? Okay. See, and that's what's so crazy is I feel like, were you doing extensions prior? So this is what's so crazy is like, I mean, I've been in the industry as long as you have. And I would hear people saying like, oh, I do extensions and I charge thousands of dollars. I'm like, yeah, but you're still taking root retouches and this because we can't say no to clients. So we'll take 17 clients and we're burnt out. Yep. And we tell ourselves that's how we have to do it. And even though we say like, oh, I mostly do extensions, when you break it down and you literally look at like all the services you're offering and what you're making, like that's one of the first things we do. And I don't know if General's Tent was around when you first started, but that was like one of the first assignments we have, you know, even top producing stylists do. We're like, okay, great. We can live in our feelings all day, but let's just like break this down, right?
The first time I had a free Thursday, I had no
Did you
clients.
feel guilty?
I was freaking out. I called, like we had the cool thing about our program is that when you come to like we're doing a class right now. So when you come to class, you get your little group. So we have a little Instagram group, like group chat.
Okay.
And it's just from the girls that I met at the conventions and the mastermind events. So I remember the first time being like, you guys, I have no clients on Thursday. And I had no idea what to do with myself.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to pay my bills.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? I can't, like, because I had given up all my color clients.
Yeah.
And so my friend Tracy, she's like, do the numbers.
Do the numbers. Stop panicking.
Do the numbers. Go do your numbers. And I mean,
You're all,
it was like, what? I can have another day off.
Yeah.
And so I was able to, instead of taking time at home to do my admin work and to do my marketing, I took that day and I took half the day to do
whatever you wanted.
Work,
Botox Monday.
Yes, Botox Monday. No, I like talked to my girls and I like sat in the break room and like
all of a sudden it's fun again.
It was so fun.
Yeah. It's crazy because I mean I've seen it all and I've done it all. I've never done the assembly line of clients, but I have reached like burnout so much in my career to where like, I'm working 12-hour days. I'm driving home crying. My kids are already in bed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to produce, right? I got to make money. And then it just kind of gets down to this place where I'm like, I refuse to operate in this space of burnout. Like I'm a shitty mom. Yeah. I'm a shitty wife. I'm a shitty person. Yeah. I don't love this anymore. It's not even... it's not even worth the money. Like it is, but it's not. You're just kind of like, I'm done. I'm going to switch careers. Like that's where it gets, right?
I was going to be a doula.
Okay. I was going to do real estate. I was like, I'm just going to go get my real estate license. Like, screw this.
I think doula has like a slow build up and that would be cool and chaotic. And I would tell the husband to calm down. And
I could do this. Yeah. Like if I can run 20 chairs, I can be a doula.
That's what I wanted to do. And then I was like, no, I will say the 2020 happened and it was so freeing. Yeah. Because my husband, he's in the fashion industry and his business went kaput. And then he lost ties with his partners. And when we were able to like go, okay, I'm going to take the baton. Yeah. And I'm going to support our family and you're going to build your business from scratch from 2020. And we're not going to ask for any money from anyone. Yeah. And we did. And we did that.
What does he do?
He designs clothing. He's a fashion designer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is he still doing that?
Yeah. His first line just came, we have boxes upon boxes in our in our guest room right now because him and my son started their own. But
when 2020 happened,
he was doing luxury Italian menswear. So everything in Italy closed. Yeah. All the factories closed for months and months. So he got so behind that the investors backed out. Oh, and so then then
it was like your business. You were like, okay, I'm gonna lead for the family right now.
I did. And
did you become more profitable once I feel like for me, like same, like when that pressure's on, there's no choice. Like it's no longer like there's two incomes or this is like fun. It's like, I'm the provider and I really need to see what I need to be the most effective with my time.
Yes. And that's what I did. And I was like, babe, I got this. And you're going to do freelance work. He was doing freelance work and taking all that money that he was making and so that we can invest in his business. So it was a team effort and it was so freeing and so cool for us to be able to work as a team because he supported me through the whole training process and he supported me through all of those things. But
you had built your business up now where you could kind of take the reins and support him.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah. I mean, my husband and I kind of had a similar situation, but not in 2020. This is like when the market crashed forever ago. We lost everything. And then I was kind of that's actually what made me start my brand as I was like, well, I'm a hairstylist and you're making zero money. And we were like in the hole. And I'm like, okay, well, the only skill I have is doing hair. And that was a real eye-awakening moment for me because I was like, well, what's my top service? Hair extensions. Okay, well, I need to figure out how to elevate this brand of hand-tied hair because when I started my brand, like hand-tied was the lowest selling product in the market. Nobody wanted hand-tied hair. I'd go buy it and people were like, why do you want this? I'm like, it lays really flat, but I wouldn't charge that much because everyone told me like, why are you buying hand-tied hair? And so I was like, yeah, like, you know, if you want to give me $100 a row, that's fine. If you want to go buy your own hair and bring it in, I'll sew it in. I think I charged like $275 and I would have them go get their own hair when I started my brand. $275. And then I was like, oh my God, like I had learned a ton of different bonded systems and I hated them. And I would do them on my clients, but I wouldn't even wear them in my own hair.
Same.
And I was like, this is garbage. And so then I was like, but I did it because I could charge more, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I won't put these in my hair. And I'm doing these like sewn in ones on my hair with this hand-tied hair.
Did you sew your own?
I did at one point. It was
skillful.
It was dark times. They were dark times. I think one point I was like, now Garrett, like, look, if you just clamp the bead on for me, I can stitch this thing in. Like, it's fine. Those are dark times. But I showed my sister how to do them.
Yeah.
And my sister-in-law who didn't even do hair, and I would do trade with them.
Yeah.
I lived in Arizona at the time, and I'd fly home and have them do my hair.
Wow.
But it was crazy. I was like, this just needs to be, this brand needs to be elevated.
Yeah.
Hand-tied hair needs to be elevated. The experience needs to be elevated. The outcome needs to be elevated. And so I started buying expensive bags and talking about hair to position these hand-tied hair as a luxury service. And then it like, you know, kind of, that's like the beginning of the story, but it was kind of a wild ride. And now I feel like hand-tied hair extensions is like the most like it's like the thing. And I get so irritated because I'm like, it's not hand-tied hair extensions, it's hand-tied hair. I'm like, natural hair rose is the system. Hand-tied hair is the hair.
We have that conversation daily.
Yeah, with clients because they don't know.
Yeah,
they don't know. They don't know. But
it all stems back to you though. It's all I say that all the time. I'm like, you guys, she's at the core of all of it because she's the one. Yes, there are other things out there, but you're at the core. You're the foundation. You are the one that, like, that is.
I'm the original hand-tied.
OG.
I'm the original hand-tied. I know. I'm like, hand-tied wasn't cool, but there's a lot of other people that have made it trending, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, this needs to be elevated. These are so much easier. They're better on your hair. They look better. They're more natural. But it's crazy. But I too, I think I'm really passionate about the artists, kind of like what we've been talking about on the show. I don't want the artists to burn out, right? Because we've been taught so backwards in our industry what success has to look like. And still to this day, so many artists are operating that way. I can't tell you how many. And I'm like, you don't even like your job. Like, it's not fun anymore.
And so on the DeVeo side, I've been able to take the things that I've learned from the Academy and Mastermind and implement that because I used to be like, okay, you need more clients. You're not going to be able to make your goal unless you shrink your times and get more clients in.
Yeah.
Now it's like, what part of every day that you do you love to do?
Yeah.
What do you love? Reds? Do you love balayage? Do you love what is it that you love?
Niche?
And then we're gonna hone in on that, and we're gonna. But I want you to be like, if that's the thing, then you better be the thing. Like I have one of our girls who does Vivids, and that's her thing.
Yeah,
and she's very new at hair. She apprenticed, and she's very new at hair, but she's the one that people call for Vivids because she honed in. And so then it's like, okay, now how much money do you need to make to pay your bills, to be comfortable, so that you're not coming and feeling like you have to go get another job?
Yeah.
And so then we adjust your hourly rate. So we're doing that for our girls at DeVeo and our other business where we're doing the color, and they're charging accordingly, but then again they have to deliver the result. It can't just be like,
so you take somebody who's really good at Vivids and you're like, you're not $200, you're $500.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's not like, we're not going to have you charge $200 because that's the going color rate. You're specializing in Vivids.
Correct.
So you're going to pay more, which means
which means you can take your time.
You can slow down.
And
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
have to freak out and be like, oh, I have to do this, or otherwise I spent 5 hours and only charged $200 and then I'm making less minimum wage again. So so we do that and we're like, okay. And I want you to take your time, and I want you to be able to deliver and use the product that you need, so that you're not, it's not scarcity and like, so we're using that instead, changing that.
Right. So even inside, even though you're a commission salon, you're paying a higher commission because you have clients that are willing to pay that. And you're not teaching your artists like take more, take more, take more. You're not going to have a Vivid expert take a men's haircut. There's no point in wasting her time doing that. You're like, you don't like doing them. You have a gap on your books. No, we're only going to fill those gaps with what you're really good at, right? And I think that's something, again, in our industry, it's like not taught. It's like just plug in whatever it is. And then if you actually slow down and do the numbers, you're like, no. And it's funny because you'll be like, oh, well, I keep having a price increase. Well, I'm sorry, but a price increase on a men's cut that you're charging $40, what did you charge $50? A price increase on an extension client where you're charging in the thousands and now you're charging an additional like $300 to $500.
Yeah.
That is a price increase.
Yes.
A $10 increase on a men's haircut is not a price increase, right? So we hear this all the time, like fill your books, increase your prices based on like how full your books are, right? But that doesn't actually equate to making more money.
And we were increasing them by like $5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you can't, like, if you're going to make a price increase on extensions, you're never going to say, we're going to raise it, it's now $2,005. No. Like, that would be silly. If you do a price increase on extensions, you're like, hey, it was $2,000 last year, it's now $2,300, right? Like, that's a price increase. And so it's so interesting. I always say in our industry, I'm like, it's a numbers game.
It is.
You have to get out of your head of everything you've been taught in our industry, and you need to look at the facts and not the feelings. And when you look at the facts and you do your numbers and you get out of that scarcity mindset, all of a sudden hair's fun and you have more freedom and you can be a good mom and you can actually enjoy hair and you can enjoy your staff, right? Yep. And so that's kind of like, again, MBR is the tool. Yeah. But what I'm passionate about and what I see inside of our academy and with our trainers is freedom.
Yeah, that's that's our whole, it's like, somebody called us a sorority, which I took it as a compliment.
It's better than a cult, so I'll take it.
We also have been called that.
Yes.
But I took it as a compliment because our why became, Jess and I were like, okay, we're not going to make the money that we, like people say you're going to make owning this salon, right? So what is our why and what's our purpose? And our purpose is we empower those girls, those women. We don't have any guys, not because we don't want to, it just hasn't happened. Yeah. But we empower them and they want to be in their marriages because they want to, not because they need to. Yeah. They support their husbands and their husbands support them or their spouses and we want to be respected as that's our thing. It's like I love it. It fuels me. It gets me like, I'm like, bring her to me. When people say, oh, she just wants to do hair and her parents wanted her to go to, she just wants to be a hairstylist. I'm like, oh, bring her to me. Yeah. Because it fuels me. And I sat down with a dad. I said, your daughter will be a 6-figure stylist within 6 years. Give me 5 to 6 years. Yeah. They're like, really? They have no idea. It's not about that. Yeah. But it's about empowering them to do something that they're passionate about, that they love, that they can be respected, and also have the freedom of being a mom. You know, I have one of the girls, she gets off work at 2:00 every day and doesn't work Saturdays anymore. She's 25 years old. She's having her first baby. Yeah. And it's cool.
Yeah. And she's probably making good money.
She makes great money. She's bought her house, her car at 21. She bought her first house at 21. And it's cool because
I think it's cool though because like our industry, well, it's kind of coming around, but it's because of people like you. And people like me that it's like, hey, you're a hairstylist by trade, but that doesn't mean that you have to fall in the mindset of like, I can only charge this. I have to work every Saturday. I have to do this, right? Yep. And so it's like, yeah, that's your skill, but like others can only respect you as much as you respect yourself, right? So if you think of yourself as like, oh, there was nothing else to do, so I'm just going to go do hair, then you're just going to do hair. But if you kind of elevate your mindset and you put boundaries on yourself and you have a mentor like you.
Yeah, and treat it like a business.
Then it's like, oh, okay. Then you don't care what anybody else says about a hairstylist. No. You can say it proudly. You're like, yeah, I do hair. I make great money. I have freedom. I get off at 2. I get to be a mom. Like, yeah, like you can say I'm a hairstylist all day long, but I know the numbers in my bank account right now. You know?
I don't have to prove it. Yeah. We know it, but it's really, we treat it like a business. And that was one thing that from the get-go, we treated it like a business. Yeah. And so we took coaching from business coaches and we took mentorship from other people from different areas, but from similar areas. And then we started getting a coach, and then we started coming to academy and like getting business coaching.
Yeah.
And having our girls treat it like most people don't know. When I was doing that, my owner could have taken 2 haircuts, a paycheck, and I would have no idea because I wasn't taught how to look at my numbers.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
just being
important.
aware.
Being aware.
Yeah. I know artists are so guilty. I say like literally like taking like their cash tips, everything, and like shoving it under the mattress type of thing.
Yes, I used to do that.
Or like same. I used to be in this place where I'd be like, I'm making so much money, and then I wasn't like paying attention to my overhead.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, I need to charge more.
Yeah.
Because I was at the time, I think I finally was charging in the thousands for hair extensions, you know? And I was like, I'm making so much money. And then I was like, oh.
Or like treating the tips like it's just like
Yeah.
spendable. And I remember looking at my tips for the month and be
Especially
like,
with
we
hair
could pay our
extensions.
mortgage
Yeah.
for this.
Especially with hair extensions, you're like, I made $5,000 in tips.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All of a sudden you're like, oh man, that
Yeah.
can't just be spending money. Like that's got to be part of the income that's
Yes.
coming in.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, it was fun to have you on the show
Same.
and hear more of your story. I feel like it's like I know my trainers, but I really don't, I guess. Or maybe I've heard your story, but now your story's
A
like
little bit.
evolved. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, and it's funny because it used to just be, I like bringing more people on the show, right? And just giving the industry a different perspective, and like how you started is really cool. I didn't know you had like not a silent investor. You had a client that was like, hey, I believe in you. And then you kind of took it and ran with it. And it like, that's such a cool story because there's a lot of stories that maybe didn't turn out so good. You know what I mean? So you kind of had like a good situation there.
Yeah.
But that's
Cool.
amazing. Well, thank you for being on the show. And now you're actually teaching a class right now. And I'm gonna still Kiki. Kiki's another one of our trainers. We do so we have an academy, you guys. There's just under 500 students in the academy now, which is crazy. I started it maybe when did I start? I started in 2020. Which that was wild. I didn't know that everything was going to close, and I was so glad because remember how we were doing so many live events,
virtual,
and literally that year I changed everything and revamped it, and I just had this feeling, and I changed everything to an online academy. And we do have in-person events, but a lot of it could be done online, and I did that during 2020, and that is really that's kind of what kept my education going is that shift. But anyways, we do have an academy. It teaches business marketing and sales. It also teaches the craft of natural beauty row hair extensions. And we did virtual events this last year. We still did a bunch of those and then gave the opportunity for people to join the academy. But if you guys want more information on natural beauty row hair extensions and our education, go to mbr.education to learn more. Don't forget to tune into this podcast. We usually share it every Tuesday. We have a new guest. I love hearing stories. If you guys have if you want to hear anything, like email us and let us know what topics you want us to talk about, and we're happy to share whatever we can to help you guys and help elevate the industry and the art of doing hair. So, all right, thanks you guys. We'll see you guys next week, and thanks Luz for coming in and being my guest.
That was fun.
All right,
Thanks
bye guys.